So in what is one of the most open secrets in the world of Sheffield Wednesday, this recent week, couple of weeks, probably since Xisco was sacked, that happened. He's obviously no longer Sheffield Wednesday manager, and now we have a new manager, a manager that has never actually been a manager before. Danny Röhl, I will get there, I'm sure, has been appointed as Sheffield Wednesday manager. Now let's start this sort of video like we always do and read directly from the club statement. Sheffield Wednesday are delighted to announce the appointment of Danny Röhl as our new manager. The renowned German coach takes over as Owls boss with immediate effect, with an impressive career in his locker to date. The 34-year-old has held assistant manager positions at European giants Bayern Munich, RB Leipzig, Southampton and the German national team. Röhl's glittering coaching career now leads to his first managerial role in S6. Welcome to Wednesday, Danny. Quite possibly the shortest one of these I have ever seen for a manager of Wednesday, actually. And I'll tell you just why, because immediately after that, Sheffield Wednesday have followed up with this article. In detail, Danny Röhl. The Owls have confirmed Danny Röhl as our new manager, and here we dive into the German's ever-rising career. At just 34 years old, Röhl's experience as a coach has seen him go head-to-head with Europe's elite, plying his trade at the very top of the game. Having had his player career cut short through injury, Röhl began working as a video analyst with RB Leipzig's youth sides before moving into a coaching role with the younger teams at the time when former Manchester United boss Ralf Rangnick was first-team manager. He later stepped up to the first-team coaching duties at Die Roten Bullen in 2016 under Ralf Hasenhüttl. Having gained promotion from Bundesliga's second division German league, the pair guided RB Leipzig to the runners-up spot in the club's maiden top-flight campaign, qualifying for the Champions League. In 2017-18, RBL finished in 6th place and reached the quarter-finals of the Europa League. Röhl made his first switch to England in 2018, joining Premier League Southampton with Hasenhüttl, successfully helping the Saints to survival. He departed St Mary's the following season for European giants Bayern Munich. He was assistant manager to coach Hansi Flick and would enjoy playing a key role in one of Bayern's most successful campaigns in recent history. The club won the Bundesliga, DFB Pokal and the Champions League title to complete the coveted treble in 2019-20. The following season, Bayern retained their Bundesliga trophy while also triumphing in the UEFA Super Cup and FIFA Club World Cup. Röhl's success with Flick saw the duo make another step up, this time to the international level with the German national team at the end of the 2020-21 season. He left Germany last month and now makes his first foray into management with the Owls, backed by a plethora of success in his burgeoning career to date. He's also just done an interview, but we are going to be doing a Talking Wednesday podcast later today. You will see that, so stick to the channel. And we will talk about his interview and anything else that comes out over the day in that. But let's get into a little bit more about Danny Röhl. So the first question that a lot of fans are probably asking themselves is, why have we gone for someone who hasn't been a manager at this level? Now, I understand that. There was actually quite a lot of people, including myself at a certain point, saying, wouldn't Warnock have been a fit? We're kind of in a scrap at the minute. We don't have time for maybe more of a luxury building appointment when we are at a very immediate threat of relegation. Yes, there's still a lot of the season left, but doesn't it make more sense to bring in a manager that's got championship experience, that can just fight, galvanise the players and work to keep us up in the short term? Hasn't that got to be the priority right now? Now, obviously, I don't think that would have been the sort of appointment that Chansiri would make. We know he's quite outside of the box with his appointments. He doesn't really seem to do short term, which, to be honest, if he'd have got those right in a lot of cases, would have been the way to think. You know, you think long term, you think about a project, you think about building something. The projects haven't really worked so far, but maybe this is one that could. It's a risk. It's a really big risk, but it's, in this world of football, it's not as big as a risk or a stupid decision we could have taken on a manager that, we've just had Xisco, haven't we? So hopefully it's better than that. Now, a big concern for a lot of people as well is probably the fact he's never actually been a manager. Yeah, that's one that might be quite concerning to some. But if you actually look at his career as an assistant manager, it's pretty good. RB Leipzig, Southampton, Bayern Munich, and the Germany national team. That's a pretty good career. To say he's not very old in terms of managers. He's 34. He's close to some of our players' age. That's a little bit crazy. So a little bit of background. He was one of those players that had a injury very, very early on in sort of his teenage years. Then he went down the sports science route and went into coaching that way. So he's very much been all about the coaching, doing your badges, doing that sort of thing and building your way up and working in the systems in football. He's done some analysis. He's worked his way up there and then obviously get into assistant manager and then being assistant manager for a varying degree of clubs and obviously the international team. He's also worked with Ralf Rangnick, who's obviously quite a big name in general sort of football recently because of the Manchester United stuff. But yeah, he was under Hansi Flick. He was the assistant manager of the Germany team as well. So he's got the experience in there. And I think for all the things we're thinking, oh, this might be a risk here. And don't get me wrong, it is a risk. There's definitely a gamble when you take these sort of gambles. But I guess the really cliched one to go for is Mikel Arteta was assistant manager at Man City. Then he went to Arsenal. It was kind of a build in their first year. But look at Arsenal now. They are a team that competes. They do have money. They do have support in terms of they can actually build a lot better than Wednesday can. They don't have the same financial restrictions as Wednesday will be under. But assistant managers very much are part of the team. They are part of the management staff that you see. I think Eddie Howe's assistant, name's just slipped off the top of my head. Jason Tyndall. I did actually think that, but didn't say it straight away. But yeah, he's pretty much like the manager as well as Eddie Howe. If you remember under Darren Moore, Jamie Smith was quite vocal. So the assistant managers do have a big thing to do with the team. And it is a natural progression. Not everybody does it. Some people like being, the second man. They like being behind that manager and supporting that manager and that the final say doesn't go with them. And then they jump with that manager to different teams and different leagues and the likes. But sometimes it's time for a step up when you realise that, you know what, I could do this job. So having someone with that sort of CV at his age, building it into a job, this could be a really exciting project for him. It shows his ambition and it shows again that Wednesday you're going to take a risk. But in terms of all the risks we could take, this one does make sense if you look at it. If you're looking at a project that could build, I'm just worried that we're not really in a situation where you can build. We've missed the window. For me, I'm questioning now, why didn't we just go for him? If this is someone we looked at in the summer, why did we go for Xisco and not Danny Röhl when he was somebody we were looking at? Because what you've got there is you've got a transfer window for him to play with. Now, you haven't got that. You've got Wednesday, who have been abysmal at the start of the season, and you've got a manager that's got to come in and try and lift the morale, lift that team, and bring everything up around them without the financial backing to do it. There's no window. He hasn't got a window till January. It's not ideal. One thing that might be good from him is his style with the players. So he's spoke about in previous interviews about taking ownership and players having player ownership, and stepping up. And he that's one of his philosophies, really. Players having that autonomy and responsibility and ownership. So there will be a case of, no, you have responsibility for what you're doing on that pitch as well. This is the tactics. These are the tactics. This is what I want you to do. But in certain situations, you have to step up, and that has to be your ownership. That might be a good sort of combat to where we're going, well, the players are partly responsible. Some of the Wednesday players come out and say, like Windass, for example, says, we are responsible for this at the end of the day. It is the players on the pitch. The manager obviously is going to say what he says, but we're the players on the pitch. A manager that actually reinforces that sort of philosophy and says, that's what I'm about. I set things up, but players also have to step up and take responsibility, take ownership of themselves. That's gonna set sort of the standard there, you'd hope. As you can probably tell, I think a lot of Wednesday fans don't really know fully what to think on this one, but I think we'll just take any sort of positive at the minute. When the press conference comes and they announce the new manager, don't do it again, Chansiri. I don't want to be sitting down making a video about how you went off on one in the press conference again. Please learn from what we have just seen with how bad the Xisco press conference was. We don't need that again. Professionalism, no vendettas, no calling fans out. We're all still pretty low. Do not poke the bear, okay? Just do it. Go out, announce the manager, say you're going to back him, let him talk. That's it. I'm really nervous to see how that one goes. But I'd like to know what you guys think about taking a risk, taking a risk in someone who's been an assistant manager before. Are you happy with this? Do you think this is the right move, a building project? Would you have preferred to see someone come in with championship experience, maybe of getting out of relegation situations? Or do you think this is actually going to be one of those sly moves that pays off? Would you accept getting relegated this year if it meant we could build back up? For me, I think that'd be a crisis. He needs to build and avoid relegation, which is going to be the big thing for me. That's going to be a big task for him to partake in. He's going to have to build his own style and his own philosophy into the club, but he's got to avoid relegation because this club can't go to League One again. But it's heading that way, and we're in this situation where we've brought someone in who's going to want to build, but has to battle relegation at the same time, which is not an ideal situation to be in. But let me know what you think on all of that in the comments below. But for now, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, do all those things, and keep watching right here on Dexterity Box.